Boom. Greetings, everyone. Greetings. We're going to have a great conversation today. Welcome to Esoteric Podcast with me, your host, John Yah. We're going to talk about some very interesting stuff here. We're going to talk about consciousness and levels of consciousness. And so as you listen, you will be able to hear what level are you. All right. And so when we talk about these different levels of consciousness, we also going to talk about how to raise your vibration inside the consciousness, because every time you go through a different level of consciousness, you actually raise your vibration or you lower your vibration. But this is about raising your vibration to another level. And so this is going to be a solo. Unfortunately, I don't have no one with me to talk to, but this is going to be a great subject. What I would like for anyone that wants to come in, chant in, to give me your opinion, to give me your thoughts, or ask me questions if you wish for me to elaborate a little more on the subject matter, please chant in. And I'll try to get to those questions at the end of this talk. Just tune in and just stay with it from the beginning to the end, and you'll see where I'm going with it. First, before I get started, though, I want to thank those that without them, this podcast would not be possible. First, I want to thank my friend, Attorney Carl Price with Conscious Fever, Ice Entertainment Radio, while they're over there on every Thursday night at 9 o'clock. They're putting in great information they're putting out there. Also, I want to thank Joe Tapper with the Tipping Point Morning Show every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on WLOU locally and on Facebook and YouTube, and I believe it's coming on Instagram. Okay. Also, I want to thank Frank Stoner with Health Daddy Wild. He's also located here in Louisville. If you need any herbs or teas, that is the man you want to talk to right here in this city, Louisville, Kentucky. Also, I want to thank Kari Muhammad, which is my graphic guy, and he is with Incredible. And so if you don't know nothing about that guy, check him out. He's a silent mover, but yet he does a lot of work, very profound work that he puts out there. Also, I want to thank Phyllis Myers, a.k.a. Sayatil Emmanuel, with Body Energy Works. Listen, if you need your body tuned up and you need some work on it, trust me, she's just not a regular massage therapist. Not at all. And so her technique is extremely unique, and I guarantee you your body will feel better and you will return back to her hands. Also, I want to thank my friend, my brother, and my doctor, Dr. Akmal Moakia. He is at Healing Art Studio, and you can find him at healingarts.net. And so, again, this subject is about consciousness and the level of consciousness. And I hope you tune in and stay in with it so that we can build on this conversation and we'll kind of see where we can go with this. Before I do that, again, I want to tell everyone that when I put these out, basically when we put these information out, we do it free. We don't ask for anything. However, out of this love that I'm pushing out there, I'm pushing this love out on the internet. I'm pushing it out, right? Pushing out that vibration. Show me your love back by clicking like, thumbs up, sharing, sharing. Listen, we don't do enough of sharing. And this is about how vibration works, because vibration, energy is reciprocal. Yeah. If you are selfish with your wealth, guess what the universe does? It be selfish with it also. So if you want a hug, give a hug. If you want money, learn to give money. If you want love, you got to learn to give love and watch it returns. That's how it works. So show me your love. Show me your love by just give me a thumbs up, share this content, and I guarantee you the blessings always come back to everyone. So consciousness, the level of consciousness, which is the subject here, and what level we're talking about. So I'm going to describe 5 different levels of consciousness. I must describe 5, and I'm going to go into each point of those awarenesses of what we're talking about. When we're talking about consciousness, I want to use this phrase, dimensions. There's 5 dimensions of consciousness. But before I do that, I got to first talk about this word consciousness and what it means on several points, because we use this word a lot. I'm conscious, the conscious community, right? We always use this word to identify something. And where did this word actually arrive from? Well, for religious people, people who were non-religious, but yet still believed in God and they were not atheists, this is where the phrase came from. You know, I don't believe in God, but I'm conscious. Or I'm not Christian, but I'm conscious. Conscious means that they were aware of themselves and their surroundings, and they are aware of a higher power. That's kind of what that kind of concept started to mean when people started saying they were conscious. With that said, consciousness have grown to the point to where it may have seen something to be better than people who are in religion, because now even religious people say they're conscious, right? You got Christians say they're conscious, Muslims, everybody's conscious now. So that's cool, because self-awareness is very, very important. So that's one part of that consciousness that people use when they come up there. But let's look at consciousness on two levels here. One level of consciousness of being woke, meaning you're not asleep, meaning that you are either asleep or you're woke. So in a sense, when you sleep, you are unconscious, meaning you are not aware of your surroundings. So you are at that point asleep, meaning the frontal lobe of the brain, which is the conscious level, goes to sleep. And so when it's woke, it's aware. And that is also a form of consciousness. But what we're going to talk about is consciousness on a spiritual, maybe I would like to call it an esoterical energy level of consciousness, to where it's connected to the energy force around you, okay? And that's what's important, to understand the energy force around you. And what are you aware of? What are you aware of, that self-consciousness of your surroundings? And this is where we're going to go. So again, as I dig into this on each of the subjects, if you want me to elaborate more and come back to it, just please do, and bear with me as I go through this, because kind of maybe if you missed the first part, maybe then you probably have to go and rewind to come back to get to where I'm at. So consciousness, first level of consciousness. The first level of consciousness is actually when you're born. It actually starts while you're in the womb of your mother. Third trimester is what neuroscience points out. And so what does that mean? Okay, so you are in the womb of your mother. And the first thing you become aware of in the third trimester is your mother's voice. Meaning you are now conscious, you are aware that the sound you're hearing in the womb is your mother's. You might not put it in that frame, but you know that that's the first voice you actually hear while you're in the womb, right? The first voice is mother. Or the mother's voice. Then you have the mother's feelings, which is another level connected to the consciousness, because this is where your information starts to download. Remember, consciousness is awareness. And so therefore, if it's awareness, then your first awareness was actually your mother's voice. That's your first awareness. Your second awareness came when your mother had a feeling, okay? So let me tell you how it works. So let's say, for instance, you're in the womb, and of course, you know your mama's sound. You know the sound. You know when she's happy. You know when she's sad. You're feeling all that energy. When she's happy, you feel that energy of her being happy. And when she's sad, you feel that energy of her being sad. And it's connected sometimes with words or sound. So feeling is one thing, sound is the next, and then you connect the two. So I give you an example. Let's say there's a word that made the mother start crying. A word that she heard, or a sound that she heard. Let's use the word bitch. I like that one. Let's use the word bitch in this scenario. So let's say the woman is called a bitch while the child is in the womb, and the child doesn't know. It heard the word, but the child doesn't know what that word means. And so every time the mother is being called that name, the mother feels down, and she feels low, or she feels angry. Those feelings are connected with the sound to the child in the womb. So the child will hear a word, bitch, and the child feels like the mother feels. So then it's connected. This is consciousness. This is first awareness. That's your first form of consciousness. Okay, so when and grab this concept here. When you're born into a world actually knowing nothing except for those feelings your mother gave you and her sound of her voice. When you heard your mother, you knew it was your mother, and connected to the feelings. And then sometimes, even while the child's out of the womb, it can still feel the mother's pain. Check that out. And this is facts, right? It can still feel the mother's pain. So this is consciousness awareness. But I want you to look at this as like consciousness as coming off assembly line of like a computer. A computer comes off assembly line. It knows nothing until it is uploaded with information. So the child born into the world is only connected to sounds and feelings. It is not connected to mathematics. It is not connected to other realms of knowledge. It's just right now connected to that. And when it comes into the world, the first thing it wants to do is learn its new environment. So it wants to know who the brother is, who the sister is, what pop looks like, now what mom looks like, right? So now it's connecting. At first it was connecting sound and feelings. Now it's connecting sound, feelings, and sight. It's downloading information. So this is also called theta wave. When you are born, you are actually in what is called theta wave. This is a form of hypnosis. See, because you don't have time to figure nothing out when you're born. Your job is to figure out who's who, because you're trying to learn how to survive. Who's what their names are, who's the friend, who's the foe, right? And so at that point, you're downloading information. As you download information, you begin to use those concepts as you begin to learn, okay? This is just a fact. This is why between birth and 7, the child can learn multiple languages. The reason why is because the child is in theta wave. It ain't until after 7, according to neuroscience, that some things have to be repeated in order to seek into the subconscious mind where it's there, okay? So the first level of consciousness or the dimensions of consciousness is first dimension and part of dimension number 2. This is theta wave. This is where you're just downloading information. You're just learning stuff. You can be in any environment where you are seeing and learning. It doesn't mean that someone has to teach you anything. You're watching your mother's behavior. You're watching your brother's behavior, your father's behavior. You pick up those behaviors right there inside of your subconscious, and you actually play them out without even knowing why you do those things. You just seeing your mama do it. So your maybe a friend doing it, or your father or brother doing it. And so you start picking up those behaviors. That's just how the mind works, okay? So first level of consciousness, and first level going into second, is the theta wave, where you just download information, just information coming to you. That's first and second dimensional consciousness, okay? Then you get into third level dimension of consciousness. This is where you take on a form of belief connected to what you've learned through your theta wave journey. So now the third dimension is beliefs. Everything you have been uploaded into your brain, you begin to believe automatically. You begin to believe what you learn about how to use the restroom, what you learn about how to eat, how to pick up the fork, put it in your mouth. You learn those things and they become now a part of you, beliefs. So it's like, depending on where your mother took you, how she raised you up, or how your family raised you up, it becomes belief. And the thing about beliefs is that you take those beliefs as facts. You don't consider anyone else's, because this is what you know, and this is how you learn. And it can be a food habit. It can be a religious habit. It becomes something that you practice willingly because it settles in as a belief. Okay. So third level of consciousness is belief, meaning in that dimension, you now have full of belief and you are fully involved in the belief. We all been there, right? You are fully involved in what you believe. Even in religion, what you're taught in school, or even medicine, or how you take care of yourself. They become beliefs. You can change these things over time with learning certain ways to the technique, and we can talk about that. But It becomes now set in stone in your brain as a belief. Okay, so third level of dimension of consciousness is belief. Okay, so we just went through the first level is theta wave, just downloading information. First and second dimension of consciousness. Third level is belief. You begin to believe and accept those concepts as facts and truth. Now think about it. Regardless of what environment you came in, you begin to look at those situations as factual and true. And we're also going to talk about how you see yourself with money in the relationship of your parents. And this is even discussed in Rich Dad Poor Dad, of the way a child is raised based on what they see. They grow up that way. Neuroscience talks about how 80 to 90% of your behaviors right now was already stored in you from birth to 7. Facts, right? So now, what is fourth levels? The fourth level of dimensional consciousness. The fourth level of dimensional consciousness is rejection, meaning that you start questioning everything. When you start questioning everything, you're moving into the fourth level dimension where you are into everything. You're questioning it. You question your religion. You're questioning everything you thought you knew was right. You're questioning your mother. You're questioning your school. You're questioning your doctors. Everything's a question now when you're in the fourth dimension of consciousness. Okay, so you got the first dimension, everything you learned and picked up unwillingly or willingly, and then you have first and second. Then you have third dimension of consciousness where you believe in everything you were told. Undoubtedly, you believe it and you accept it without question. Then there's the fourth level when you begin to question everything you think you know. And some of us have went through that, and it kind of, when you found out that what you have been following and doing has been a lie or untrue, don't it kind of piss you off a little bit? That's fourth level. That's the fourth level dimension of consciousness, because you're going to get pissed off. You start to question everything without even no evidence to question. I started questioning doctors and I had no evidence to question them with. I just started not believing everything they were telling me. So something just started making me search out more information. This is what the fourth dimensional consciousness will do to you. It will make you question everything. Okay. And so while you're going through that, you're also learning new information, or you wanting to replace that information with new information. It is like people who move from meat eating to become a vegetarian or a vegan. You know what we do first? The first thing we do when we realize that we're eating something that's not good for us or not right for us, you know what we do when we're moving into that? Question the meat that we're eating or questioning the food. We do this. Okay, so since we stuck on burgers and hot dogs, we stuck on the design and the way it looks, we trick our minds and eat veggie burgers. Check that out. So, we eat veggie, looks like a burger, looks like a hot dog, and we put all the dressings on it to make it look like a hamburger. You see how it works? So we're actually taking the same thing, but we're twisting it, but we have to fool our mind in order to digest it. This is when you get into the fourth level. You have to adjust some things. It's no different than belief. If you begin to question a belief, you may pick up another belief because you're in question of it. But that doesn't mean it's going to stop there, because you're still in the third dimensional consciousness. When you get into the fourth dimension, everything is questioned. And it kind of rubs you the wrong way, or maybe how they're continually telling the lies. And you're seeing it. And it's hard to explain to someone that that belief isn't true. That's okay if they don't get it. You're moving through a certain level of awareness that's raising your vibration. Because what happens when you start to make these transitions, guess what the mind and the vibration does? It brings more people into that circle that believe the same thing. So if you are in religion and you are vibrating that religion, guess what happens? You pull in those that are vibrating the same thing. So it becomes real to you. The same when you move into the fourth dimensional consciousness, where you start questioning everything, guess what happens? You bring in people or bring in information that answers some of your questions. Some of the people will come into your life. Hey, I don't believe that either. Hey, I question that too. And you'll start seeing a whole community that thinks like you. Why is that? Because you're bringing that energy to you. All of us have experienced this. Of these different levels of awareness, I would like to call them, when we talk about consciousness. They are awareness, meaning you are aware of certain things. Okay. Now, what is the fifth dimension of consciousness? Fifth dimension of consciousness, when you come to terms with believing that all of this is an illusion and none of it is real. Oh, yes. That all of it is an illusion, that none of it is real. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how can you see things that you see, touch, feel as illusions. They're right here in my face. How these things are illusions. Well, fifth dimension, you are at a whole nother level. You are at peace once you go through the fourth dimension and you get kind of pissed off of all the lies and you trying to wrestle with all that information in your brain and pull out and pull in and bring in new information. It's kind of hard. I've talked to a lot of people in religion that I've grew up with and been around, and it's hard for them to accept the concept. Some people like to use this word cognitive dissonance, where they begin to question everything with what they think they know with the new information. And they go back to the old information again because they question it with what they think they know. So when you're into this fourth dimension, trying to get into fifth dimension, you don't even know fifth dimension even exists. You're not there with everything being an illusion. This is a whole different ball game from belief systems and things around you, to where all of this is just an illusion. Okay, so I want to go there. I want to talk about how you're seeing things. How do I see things when I say all of this is just an illusion? It's really not real. Okay, so I want you to look at it from this standpoint. When we talk about the fifth level of consciousness, that everything is an illusion. And it is not the reality of what you're seeing. Okay. So what do I mean when I say this is an illusion? Okay. So if you look around you in your room, whatever you're staring at, no matter what you're looking at, whether it is a table, a chair, the computer, your phone, everything is vibrating. Everything. And it's not solid. It's actually soft. But you don't know that because everything vibrates at different levels. So everything's vibrating at a different level, meaning that couch or that chair you sat on, because of the cushion, is vibrating at a different level than the metal or the legs that's holding up the chair. Those are two different levels of vibration. Okay. So everything has a vibration to it, and everything is moving at a speed, different level speed. You just can't see it. So everything is moving, and this scientist, you will learn this in elementary school, I believe in junior high or high school, that everything is moving. You remember the science teacher telling you that? I actually started looking at stuff. I'm like, how's that moving? I'm looking at it, ain't went nowhere. Because you have to learn about how atoms work. Atoms are vibrators. It's vibrating. An atom is vibrating. Always vibrating. If it ain't vibrating, it's dead. And so atoms are vibrating. So what you're looking at is these clumps of atoms that have clumped together to make a material. This is how things came about. So everything you're looking at, whether it's the table, the chair, the phone, computer, actually came out of someone's mind. First, every detail. Look at every detail of something. Did you know that derived out of someone's head first, before it came into this dimension where you can sit on it and touch it and feel it? It actually came out of someone's head first before it came into this dimension. I've learned this even in my ability to create. And I do it. I love creating stuff new, even owning a patent and owning trademarks. When you see something in your brain and you see it, detail it, you can bring that ideal into this dimension. But let me tell you this, that no matter what you're thinking, you are actually attracting that object to come to you. So check this out. If I'm thinking of a table, and by the way, the brain is an electric magnetic wave inside the brain. Google the brain electric magnetic wave, and you're going to see a whole subject about how the brain is connected to the electric magnetic field outside of us, because the brain has an electric magnetic wave. You know how you think of someone, poof, they pop up. You know how you think of a song, poof, it popped up, because it is connected to the outer realm. So imagine if a table is vibrating at a different level. The table's vibrating at a different level than a chair or a television. Follow me here. And I'm needing a table to set in my room. So I'm trying to imagine what type of table would fit there. While I'm imagining the type of table that I want, guess what's happening? That vibration has been sent out, and it will match up and call into being the same thing that's vibrating at the same speed. Meaning this is vibrating a table. So it sends out a signal. That which is attracted is the same as the signal. This is how you bring things into your life. This is how you bring certain entities and certain things in your life. It's based on your awareness and your thoughts on it. And so you will bring people, you will bring that energy into you based on what you put forth most. If you are thinking of whatever you're thinking of most, is what you bring into your space. Okay. So once you understand that, then you can grab this. If you can understand that everything you create comes from the mind first, that all of this in this dimension is only a carbon copy of what was in the head, then you will realize two things. You have secondary and you have primary. What is secondary? Secondary is what follows. Follow me? Secondary is what follows. Primary is where it started. So the primary is here, secondary is out here. So if secondary is out here and this is primary, then this is the real and this is the illusion. This is why you can shape things in the way you want to shape it. In metal technology, in the metal world, they can mix two metals together to make a stronger metal from the mind. So the mind has an ability to imagine something and bring it forth to bring it into your life. The question is, why ain't most of us using this concept? Because we were never taught actually how to use the brain to manifest the life that you want and what you want to bring into your life. So what we're doing is we're walking a life unaware with a mind that's unchecked. Remember, your first consciousness was downloading information that's going to set up your character, your behavior, and who you are as a person. Correct. Your first level of consciousness design what temperament you have, your habits that you have. Imagine having a habit that you picked up as a child. Think about it. Your eating habits that you picked up as a child. These are all subconscious in your subconscious mind that it derives from how it looks at things. Give an example of this outer world. If you're thinking about a fight, let's say, for instance, you're thinking about having a fight with someone. The fight doesn't exist. So the body doesn't know that it's only made up in the mind. But the adrenaline sends the adrenaline that you're going to fight into the body. Now your body blood vessels open up, and now you're actually getting ready to have a fight, or your body's thinking it is. So you send that adrenaline to your body, you either ready to fight or flight. Well, guess what? If you continue to do that, eventually you will bring a fight in your space. Now you see how it works now? Once you realize that this is an illusion, this outer world, you move differently because why? You become less concerned with the things you're seeing around you. This is the trick of how others get information into our brain. And we don't even know why we did that. Think about setting something down and you don't even know why you did that. You are unaware of certain behaviors that you have that are habitual habit, the habit mind. Doing things you keep telling yourself you're not going to do. I'm not going to do this. No, I won't do it. But you find yourself doing it. You find yourself doing it when you're unconscious, when you're not thinking about not doing it. So the fifth level of consciousness is realizing that all this is an illusion and you can shape it the way you want to shape it. Fourth level of consciousness is when you begin to question everything. Third level of consciousness is when you have beliefs, your religious beliefs, your beliefs that you were taught in school, your beliefs that you was taught how to eat and what to eat. And then you have 1 and 2 level of consciousness where you just downloading information, you in the theta wave, you just learning. Okay, so that's 5 different levels of consciousness. But inside of each consciousness, guess what happens? Each one is a different level of vibration for yourself. Meaning when you was a child and you became a teenager, when you was a child wanting to be a teenager, when you got to be a teenager, didn't that bring you to another dimension of thinking? You begin to feel proud of yourself and more bigger, more responsible in a sense, made you feel good. Same as when you move into a level of consciousness where you're an adult. I'm a man, right? You heard the saying, I'm a man, and I'm a man. What the heck? I'm a man. I do this because I'm a man. Well, that using that concept, don't that vibration make you feel better? Sure, it does. It raises your self-awareness. That's a vibration. Self-awareness is a vibration that you will put out there into the world. And guess what happens? The universe will match your awareness. You think you're a man? Guess what the universe does? It will bring you scenarios that will validate your manhood. Yes, that's how it works. If you raise your level of consciousness, the universe will match it. This is not only in vibrating and creating things, it's also dealing with how you see your life. Okay, so let's say you move to another level of consciousness. Let's say you call yourself a black man. Don't you see another vibrational level? Yeah, call yourself a man, just a man. Call yourself a black man. Isn't that a little bit more chest raised up a little more? I'm a black man. Right? That's a self-awareness. That is another level of consciousness of self. And guess what happens? The universe says, yes, you're a black man, and it sends you everything black. It sends you more black people. It sends you more black people that think like you, that everything's black. That's the way the universe works, right? It doesn't deal with mercy or anything. It's whatever you think is what it gives you. You think negative for yourself, it gives it to you. Because the universe is not emotionally concerned with what you're thinking. It's not. Doesn't care what you're thinking. It's only going to give you whatever you're thinking. Whatever you're vibrating, it matches it. Whether you think it's good or bad, it matches it. You wondering why somebody's in your life that's bringing you hardship? Guess what? If you really look at it, take the responsibility. You did that. You brought that into your life, and a lot of people, let me tell you, that is a hard one for most people to get. Looking at your condition and say, how did I put myself in this condition? How do I do it to myself? That's the hardest thing. But everything you think is actually what you brought into your life. Even people. What you got to do is question why. Sometimes people continue to bring the same people into their life. The same type of person that was in your life at first. If you don't check yourself, you're going to bring the same individual in that's going to treat you the exactly same way. Because why? You vibrated it, and this is what you're sending out to the universe. This is what you really, universe, it goes with your vibration, not your words. You see, a lot of women say, I want a good man. You ain't vibrating a good man. Because you continue to vibrate the same kind. So you were just saying it, but you got to change the subconscious. Same with men and women. You say you want a good woman, but you keep vibrating sluts. You keep vibrating the kind of woman that takes advantage of you, or whatever the case may be. And that's what you continue to vibrate, because you don't look at you first. All you got to do is look at the closest people around you. That identifies who you are. There's a lot of identity of the closest people around you. Why is that? Because that's what you vibrate. Well, begin to change your thinking pattern. Watch you lose your friends. I'm going to give you an example. When we were coming up as a child, we all, let's say 4 of us had bikes and 1 of us didn't have a bike. The 4 can ride together, the 1 can't. Okay? So now imagine when I come out, and I come out with my bike, I'm going to look for the one that's got a bike also. I'm not going to go to the one that ain't got no bike. What's the point? He can't ride with me. So eventually you lose that pattern of friend. It is the same as your habit. Let's say you drink and smoke, and your friends you hang out with, you smoke with, guess what happens when you stop smoking? They stop calling you. They shit, he don't get high. What I'm going to call him for? Hey, he don't drink and go to clubs no more, so I want to go and hang out at the club. So you lose friends, because why? Your level of consciousness changed and they stayed the same. Okay, so I want you to follow me here about the level of consciousness. When you raise your vibration of yourself, you actually change the universe thought of you, and the universe switches and bring whatever it is you want your way. So imagine now, after you done went through the black man thing, and we went through this, man, because let me tell you, you can continue to call yourself something after for so long. Don't it get kind of boring? Maybe not for you. Maybe not for some of you. But some of you will stay stuck in that situation and will never elevate higher. So imagine you was at that level of being black. Yep, you're proud of being black. Yes, I'm black. I'm a black man. Then you got another level when you become attached to a religion. Let's say Muslim. You no longer call yourself black. You call yourself now Muslim. Now you feel a little bit more taller than you was when you was a black man. Chest stands out a little bit more. Okay, I'm Muslim. Then everything that you're vibrating actually comes to you, everything about what you are, to validate that you are Muslim. And all those beliefs come with it to validate your belief. All of it comes with it. You'll start seeing other Muslims. And here's what's interesting. Let's say, for instance, you're Muslim, and a famous artist who you've been liking all this time revealed that he's a Muslim. Don't that connect with you? Yeah. It makes you feel more proud. Yeah, he's Muslim too, man. You see? Because that's what you vibrating. It don't mean it's right. It just means that's what you are vibrating in your space. That's really all it means. Go to the next level, more. Those of you say you are more, same thing. Don't you feel a little prouder being a more? I'm a more. I have sovereignty rights that nobody else has. Yeah, it makes you feel better because now you done separated yourself from everyone else and you feel a little taller. That's how it works. Vibration, raising your level of consciousness of self. But can you go higher? Can you raise that level higher? Because each level that you raise to, the universe have proven to you that it validated you. Sure it did. Then whenever you was a Moor or a Hebrew or a Christian or a Muslim, did not certain materials and people come into your space? Sure it did, to validate just that. That's all. Sure it did. Validated it more. It upped your level even more about being whatever it is you claim to be. And you went deeper into it. But there's another level. Don't stop there. Dig a little deeper inside yourself. It's another level. So let's go to another level, a level that I would like to describe a lot of people have blockage. Because we're going to talk about blocks close to the end of this, or why you can't vibrate what you want. of what you desire because there are certain things blocking you from achieving it. We're talking about consciousness. So imagine now you begin to raise your level of who you think you are, a little higher than all the other levels that are earthly. Religions, whether you're Muslim, regardless of what you call yourself, that's earthly, that's just kind of where you stay. So imagine now, and just try to ride with me on this, imagine calling yourself a God. Oh, well, that is one that most people can't even wrap their minds around. In fact, if you call yourself a God and religious person, they think you crazy. Like, who this nigga think he is calling himself a God? But by calling yourself that, do you know you raise your vibration to another level of your superior, of who you are and how you move? Yeah. Because you at a level to where it cannot be identified with a book of this level of consciousness. See, if you call yourself a Muslim or a Moor or Hebrew, I can go to a book and find out everything I need to know about you and how your ass is supposed to behave. Hey, your book says this. No, you ain't supposed to eat that. No, you ain't supposed to drink that. You have to follow the book. But when you raise a level to another level saying that you are a God, I'm not telling nobody to do this. I'm just giving you different levels of how you elevate and raise your vibration. So imagine what you thought of God, being infinite, all powerful, all knowing. By calling yourself that, do you think you will vibrate that energy where the universe will answer you? Yeah. The universe will answer you the same way it answered you in the other fields of knowledge that you claim to be. Then guess what happens when you come to that level? You begin to realize that all of this is at your disposal to do whatever you will with it. That's a God concept. That's when you realize you can create anything you want to create. That's when you realize you can live the life that you want, because it all starts in the God brain first before you can bring it into this dimension that follows it. Those are different levels of raising your vibration of who you think you are. When you raise your level of thought of self, you move differently. You don't move the same way. When I raised my level, as when I told myself I'm a businessman or I need to move differently, it happened automatically. I started finding myself around people who were like-minded, like me, who were in business, who were trying to achieve some goals, who was trying to build generational wealth. Guess what? When I began to think that, books began to drop in my lap. Books, information, people, because I began to see myself differently. So I used to call myself a God. There ain't no God above me. There is nothing above me. And in fact, there's nothing above you either. You just don't know it. But there's nothing above me. I don't see no entity or person that is above me. We're all on the same playing field, regardless of consciousness. Because after that point, after me realizing that point, that took me to another level. Once I realized that I can manifest and I can bring about the kind of life I want despite what was going on around me, I realized that I was unconnected to anyone else's dimensional materials. I'm not connected. So I'm not emotionally concerned. So then I realized that I was a spiritual being having a human experience. A spiritual being having a human experience that was unattached to someone's ancient message of some people that are dead that some of you still follow. Meaning a lot of y'all traditions, you'll follow them written by dead people who were here hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago. You can't even question. Based on you can't question them, you can't move to the next dimension. You first have to question all of that in order for you to move forward. Remember, the fourth dimension of consciousness is when you question everything. In order for you to move to that next level that we're going to discuss, you have to realize certain things about yourself. So in order to get to that level, you got to question everything you think you know. I mean, everything. I'm still questioning things because I'm still finding myself learning new information all the time, because I don't allow myself to stay stuck with information as though it is absolute. Nothing is absolute. There are only pointers. Everything is deeper than you think it is, regardless of how you see things. Let me give you a little quick scenario before we move further into these identity descriptions of how you see yourself or these blockage. So let's say, for instance, you are watching this screen, you're watching your computer screen, and you see nothing in between the screen and yourself. You actually are willing to swear by that there ain't nothing between you and this screen. Actually, that ain't true. There is millions of items or things in front of you and that screen. You just can't see them because all of those things are in another dimension. You know what they are? There are microorgans all around us floating around. You don't see them. If you could see them, you would actually lose your mind, because they're floating all around us. And these microorgans, they are alive. So what you're seeing is actually an illusion. It's only meant for you to see exactly what you see for the containing of your own mind. Neuroscience will tell you that there are things moving around you you just are not aware of. So it's not absolute then. It's not absolute that you're looking at that screen and there's nothing in between you. That's not absolute. That's a partial truth. So once you start viewing things on that level, now everything is possible. You believe in things on a totally different level when you come to this realm of thinking. So let's talk about manifestation, or what we would like to call moving in a direction to where you bring about the kind of life that you want in your life. This is extremely important because right now we're moving in a time where the universe, seeming to me, is granting wishes faster than ever. And there must be a reason for that, because there is a change in the whole atmosphere. The sun is getting hotter, and that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Don't be afraid of that. So this level of awareness has to change for everyone. If you don't change and you stay the same, then you're doomed. If you're not trying to improve your life and improve your diet, then it's over with for you. Because right now, there is a wealth transfer going on right now. So what I want to talk about and get to is how you can get into that wealth transfer, how you can get into that manifesting the kind of life that you want to manifest or live, the kind of life you want to live outside of what you think. So let's talk about some of the blockage that's stopping you. Everyone heard of manifestation. Everyone heard of you can live the life that you want. Everyone heard it, but there must be something blocking you if you're not living it. Think about it. Think about the blockage. If you believe in that concept, then ask yourself, why are you in that condition? It's easy to ask yourself that question. You have to answer it yourself. So apparently, it must not be in full belief. See, some of it comes to you because you are in alignment with some of it. But how it works is a technique you're not in alignment with. So what you're doing is, a habitual level, you're manifesting on an habitual level. And what I mean when I say that is things that have been uploaded into your brain habitually that you do on automatic mode. Those things you manifest in your life. You're doing it every day. You're doing it every day. Every day. If every month you have problems paying bills, and so therefore you got bills on your mind, even in the first of the month, even before you worry about the next 3 or 4 weeks, guess what happens? That scenario that you are afraid of, definitely proves itself right. Yep, you struggling with bills. So you actually manifesting that in your life over and over and over again. It doesn't matter what it is. So we got to understand, what is the blockage? So I like to put it like this. What is your relationship with money? What is your relationship with wealth? So now we're going into the conscious mind of what you think wealth is. So if you don't think you have money, universe says, yep, you're right. You don't have a dime. And in fact, if you walk around and you got one dime in your pocket, one dime, and you tell somebody, man, I'm broke, I ain't got no money. By the end of that day, that little dime done made a little hole in your pocket and it done slipped out. Because you keep telling the universe you're broke. I don't have any money. Universe says you're right. You're broke and you don't have any money. And so it matches whatever it is you're saying. Okay. So what is your relationship with keeping money? What is your relationship with being able to maintain wealth? Do you think low of that concept? Or are you a spendthrift? As soon as you get it, you spend it. Where'd you learn that behavior from? As soon as you get it, you spend it. We don't have a savior. We don't have a saving habit. You have to learn to have a saving habit in order to change that mindset. So you got to look at what's blocking you. Here's another blockage. Blockage of what you think a rich person is. You see, because if you're not wealthy and you have a disdain feeling about people with wealth, guess what you do? You block your own wealth. Imagine the word bougie. People say, he's a bougie Negro. Then therefore, you don't want to be bougie. And what is bougie connected with? A wealthy ass nigga. We don't call white people bougie. We call rich black people bougie. So what does that tell you if you believe that? That's blocking your wealth. Why? Connect it. Connect you wanting wealth, but you don't want to be bougie. How do you do that? You see? That becomes a blockage in your subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind is used to your ass being broke. So it's going to continue to create the scenario that you're broke. It's going to validate it because it's all it knows. All it knows is what it is you trained it to know. That's it. So if you believe you're broke, you're broke. And the universe will validate it. See, when you start to understand this concept, those of you who are religious, you have to ask the question, what does God play a role in that? Or your religious belief system play a role in that? You mean to tell me, wait a minute, I can live the kind of life I want? You mean to tell me I don't have to see oppression? I don't have to struggle with paying bills? You mean to tell me that I don't have to struggle because I'm black? Because I don't believe that the white man is that powerful that I can live any life I want? That's what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is that those of you who believe in racism, you will continue to see racism in your dimension. I'm one to tell you, I don't see racism, but I do know racism exists because y'all have described it in your dimension. But I haven't witnessed. Meaning that my concept is this: I've never witnessed nobody deny me anything I thought was mine because of the color of my skin. I never been denied a tax ID. I never been denied my passport. I never been denied a bank account. I never been denied to run a business. Never. So let's say, for instance, somebody denies me a business deal. I don't see it as racism. No, because that means I'm gonna be stuck. I move forward. I don't even see it that way. So I move around it and I keep moving. So I actually believe that I am above these name calling things that we call it, that we love to be into, victimize ourselves. If you believe you can't achieve because white man stopping you, you're right. If you believe that you can do anything you want to do and the white man can't stop you, you're right. It's whatever you believe, you're right. So what I'm trying to teach and talk about is how you can maneuver and use your brain to actually imagine what you want. Here's the technique. So everybody thinks that you can just poof, think of something and it comes your way. Not quite. The way this manifestation works is interesting. You have to add an elevated emotion to it. Meaning, when you think of something that you want, you have to think of it as though you already have it. And I want you to think of something for a second. If there's something that you want in your life, try to imagine that you already have it. How would that make you feel? Because if it makes you feel something, that's called a neurotransmitter. What that means is the same instance where I talked about if you think of a fight, you send an adrenaline to your body blood vessels open up, your heart vibrates, sends a signal to the universe that you are ready to fight. And the universe says, keep it up. I'm going to send you a fight. So if I'm thinking of something, the universe is bringing it my way as soon as I start thinking of it. The problem is a lot of us stop thinking because it doesn't happen overnight. So if I'm trying to imagine me living somewhere or having something, the universe is already knowing it's there, and it begins to put together the components to bring it to me. How can I make it happen faster? By thinking of it more and adding an elevated emotion to it. By imagining if I had that item, how would it make me feel? It's called an imagination. That's all it is. We used to use this imagination as a child all the time. So imagine using this imagination. Think of something that you want, no matter what it is. And then think of it as you just received it. Won't it make you feel good? That is sending out the energy to the universe. And that's what the universe is reading. See, the universe don't read your thoughts. You're asking for a new car, you're just asking for it. But if you start to imagine the kind of car you want and how it would make you feel driving it, that you have accomplished it, that you have poured it in, that you have made it happen, guess what that does? The universe answers it faster for you when you add an elevated emotion to it. So the concept is this. The concept is able to use your brain. Imagine what it is. You have to use it in detail. If you think of this mouse, you detail it. This whole mouse, every piece of it, every inch was actually in someone's head before it came into this dimension. So when you think of something, you got to detail it. You got to put that thought in detail from the top to the bottom, how it's made, what it's made of, especially if you're thinking of something, creating something that's not here. That's different. If you're thinking of something that's already here, all you need to do is just look at the situation or look at the item. If you're thinking of a new car, go sit in a new car. Go see what it feels like to drive it. Go drive it. And then when you take that experience, imagining using that experience and just dreaming about that you're driving that car around, it makes you feel good. Guess what? The universe answers you and say, hold up. And it changes shit around. You driving a ragged ass car and you start thinking about this new car you just test drive. All you got is that little ragged ass hoopty dough. So the universe says, hold up. This person, he's thinking different. And it changes for you. And it moves the new element or the new car your way. That's how it works. It's no different than when you're thinking of someone and they pop up, or someone comes to you and say, hey, I just saw so-and-so. You'd be like, I was just thinking of so-and-so the other day. That's how it works. Thinking of a song and you turn on the radio and there's the song, right? You can be bebopping. You know how we do. We got these songs in our head. We constantly using these songs in our head, and we just, next thing you know, you turn on the radio or you heard somebody riding down the street playing the same song. You think it's a coincidence? No, you vibrated that shit to you. Fifth level of dimension of consciousness. When you are aware that you can mold and shape this shit the way you want, you don't have to see turmoil in your life. You don't have to see lockdown, shut down, lack, struggle. You really don't. you want to see it because you think that's a part of being human. Give you an example. Some people want you to stay at the same level where you at. Imagine you telling somebody two things. I like to say, giving you two things, two options. Live the life you want or live the life you have. I do this question, and it's kind of tricky, and I see where people's thoughts are going with that. Live the life you want or live the life you have. Which is it? Door number one or door number two? Most people on this conscious realm of being Black chooses the life that they have. You know why? Because if you are connected to that concept, moving away from that concept, you're automatically been uploaded into your brain that you are sellout. That's right. Get some wealth and move out the hood. You already back of your head, they're going to call you a sellout. You know it. They're going to call me a sellout. You done got that money. You done moved out in the hood. You done live out there with those white people. Look at you. You can't come and hang with us no more. That's right. This is the same concept that keeps people broke. This is why 80% of ball players, mainly Black ones, after their retirement from playing ball, in 5 years, they're filing bankruptcy. They're broke because they never changed the concept of their thinking. So the wealth left them fast. So how the hell you broke? Didn't you just have $11 million? Damn. How the hell you broke? Because you have a broke mindset. And this is where it comes from. It's changing the level of how you think. So imagine it. Imagine the door number one, live the life you have, or door number two, live the life you want. Well, let's explore the life that you want. So I give an example. Doesn't mean because I want to live the life that I want, I'm going to change my Blackness. No, doesn't mean that. What that means is that I want to see everybody winning. I don't want to see nobody digging out of my garbage can. I want to see everybody wealthy. I want to be wealthy. I want to have an abundance of wealth. And also with this blocking of knowledge, some of you feel that having wealth is evil or something wrong with an abundance of wealth. That's another blockage, right? So once you start moving past these concepts, the universe says, we're going to answer those things for you. I'm going to say it again. The universe is not emotionally concerned with your shit. If it was, the condition of Black people would have changed from 400 fucking years of this condition. You know why we still in this condition? Because mentally, we continue to perpetuate the same shit. This is why we in the same, this is why African Americans or whatever we want to call ourselves are in the same condition we are in for over 400 fucking years. Because most of us have already been programmed to be a slave, to be a servant, to be less than. It's a program. And you don't know it's a program because you're somehow locked into it. If I just described to you about gaining wealth, what would you do with it? Oh, would you stay in the hood? Would you build you $1 million house in the hood? Would you drive your Mercedes Benz and your Rolls Royce in the hood? Your ass is stuck. Well, there's a whole abundance of people. There's a whole host of people in abundance that are living a life that is not concerned with what you're concerned with. I begin to look at people who got wealthy, who used to be poor and got wealthy. Take Jay-Z for instance. Some people call Jay-Z a sellout. Some people call him that. But let me explain something to you. When you gain a certain amount of wealth, you move differently. You don't move the same way. You don't have the same people around you. Now you're around people that match your type of income. And guess what that do? That makes you do more, create more, have more. So when you're a person who a millionaire or a billionaire and you want to move in that element, you don't see things of people in the hood. You don't suffer that. You don't turn on the TV and look at black people. They just killed each other and police just, you're not there. And so this is why a lot of people are not concerned. You wonder why people with wealth don't pour their wealth at your way? That's why. That's exactly why. So you're wondering why people are in this condition, but you blame the wealthy black people, you're in this condition. Well, because the wealthy black people, they didn't come back in the hood and spend their money in the hood and build us up and share that. That's why. Because they don't see it the way you see it. And so everyone thinks differently based on their dimension of what they've learned. If I take a child and I raise them in a wealthy neighborhood, they are not only not concerned, but they don't feel the meaning of lack. If I raise a child where every time they go in the icebox, there's food, they grow up being the same way. Oh, food is always in the icebox because that's all they know. You should read Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's very interesting psychological information that deals with the psychic of how rich kids are raised and poor kids are raised. Poor kids are raised in a condition of lack, and that's all they know because of their parents. And guess what happens? If the mama's on welfare and that's all the mama wants, guess what? Chances are the child's going to be on welfare. Happens all the time, right? So you want to raise your level of consciousness. You want to raise your level of who you think you are. There's nothing wrong with it. Raise your vibration by saying, I am something higher. I am greater. And watch, the universe says, yeah, because once you do that, you'll start walking different. You'll start behaving different. That's just a fact. You'll start bringing different and more different types of people in your space, because you change the way you think and your vibration change. Okay, so those are the 5 levels of consciousness, the 5 levels of 5-dimensional consciousness. 1 and 2, theta wave, just download information. The end of 2 and 3, beliefs. You believe in everything you were told and taught. It's just stuck there. Conscious level 4, you throw everything out the door. You question the history lessons that you were taught in school. You question the food. You question religion. You question everything. When you're in the 4th dimension, you see all that shit is lies. I can't take it no more. That's the 4th dimension, because you're a little bit pissed off. Don't be pissed off if you go in the 4th dimension. That's a fact. Then you have the 5th dimension, where you're not mad anymore. You're actually content. And you see your life as an abundance as it is, regardless of how much wealth you try to attach to yourself. You should learn to say you're wealthy exactly right now where you are. But start telling yourself you are wealthy. Start telling yourself you are healthy. When you start telling yourself you have an abundance, those are forms of gratitude, regardless of your condition. When you start doing that, the universe answers you and says, yes, we're going to answer all those things you think of yourself. And here's another one that's a great, I love to use. Your awareness is as far as you can go. Regardless of where your awareness is at, that's where you are. If you want to elevate, you have to see yourself greater than your environment. When you see yourself greater than your environment, you step out of your awareness to go further. Your awareness is everything you know that you're looking at surrounding. Okay? There are certain people who are aware of how many people that was killed last year. There are people who are aware of how many black people were killed by black people. There are certain people who, when I say aware, I mean absorbed into it. Black Lives Matter, you absorbed into it. Black Lives Matter happens, you're there, you're with it. You're going to go out and you're going to do your holding up your fist. That's what you are aware of. So every time you turn on the TV, you hear the word Black Lives Matter, it draws your attention. You say, oh, what's that? All right? Because that's what you're aware of. You become aware of those things based upon your surroundings. And then there's another group of people who are aware of wealth and that they can have the life that they want. That they are aware that there's a wealth transfer going on. That they are aware that they can create anything they want to create. That they are aware of how many millionaires that was made last year. They are aware how many Black millionaires that are made this year. They are aware of these things, and they're not associated with the other ones of other people that are aware of. So no wonder people who have this concept see others as sellouts. Yeah, you a sellout because I got wealth and I became a different awareness. I don't have your awareness. I'm not there with that. I'm not there at all. In fact, to me, I'm not even Black. To me, being Black is just a perk. Being able to unlock the universe is the key and the element of why you're here. This is just the perks. Y'all like it? It's just the perks. But if you don't understand that you can unlock the universe with your mind, you are just subjected to dead people's traditions. Imagine. Listen to a lecture, listen to someone speaking to you, and at the end of that conversation, when you listen to that, did they tell you the secrets of how you can unlock the universe and live a better life, regardless of your condition? If they didn't give you that, you just wasted your time listening to them. They gave you lower level vibrational information. They did not give you the highest vibration. The highest vibration is you able to use your mind in your electric magnetic wave to connect to the electric magnetic field outside of you to manifest the kind of life you want. That's the highest level of vibration you can get in this dimension. And if you don't use that, that's your damn fault. It ain't no one else's. You heard it. You've been given the information. So you should seek it more, learn more about vibration, understand how cells work around you and in you. Understand even how your own cells work, how your own cells need nourishment, the proper nourishment, right? All these things you should learn. Unfortunately, we've been dumbed down because the schools are not teaching you how to vibrate a better life, how to vibrate. And I came across this information, this technique. I came across using it years ago. I didn't know I was using it. I was in a prison cell, using my mind greater than my environment of the 4 walls inside solitary confinement. Imagine if I stayed, my mindset stayed there, I'd still been there. But because I begin to see myself out of there, meaning move my brain into another dimension, the universe says, yep, let's change shit around. Let's unlock that door, get him out, and let him live the life that he intended to live. So those are the 5 levels of consciousness. I hope you got a piece of something in understanding. If you didn't get it at the end, go back and rewind it and listen to the beginning of talk about the 5 levels. Theta wave, which is hypnosis or just information of download. That's dimension, conscious dimension, level dimension 1 and 2, because you're moving into 1 into 2. At the end of 2, you start having beliefs. 3rd is beliefs. 3rd dimension of consciousness, you are believing. In other words, so where is your level? Are you in belief? You're in the 3rd dimension of consciousness. You in a religion, you have a belief system, you have a 3rd dimension of consciousness. When you question everything in your head, when you start to question what you think you know, and I tell everyone, don't believe in everything you think. And that should make sense to you, because who you were 10 years ago is not who you are now. What you were thinking 10 years ago ain't what you think now. And if you stay the same from this 10 years to the next 10 years, you didn't learn a damn thing. If you stay the same in the next 5 years, you didn't learn a damn thing. You stuck in a certain dimension and you're not growing. You're not elevating. Your next year or two, you should be different. You should see yourself growing. You should see yourself elevating. This is why it's important to raise your identity. Raise your identity of who you think you are and watch the universe match it. That's it. So I tell everyone, and as I close here, be able to see yourself greater than your environment and question everything you think you know. Universe will answer all your questions. Ask yourself if something true and watch in the next few days, the universe is going to give you a book. Now, you might not like the answer, but the universe will give you an answer. I promise you it will. Ask yourself a question. I don't care what it is. Ask yourself a question. Ask yourself, is this true? Or is this good or bad for me? And watch, you'll look up, you may be on Facebook and see something, somebody put a post up that answers your question, whether you might like it or not, but it's your answer. See, it doesn't mean you will like it. What it means is the universe will answer you. All you got to do is ask. If you want to move out of that condition and live a life of abundance where you can have wealth, you can have money, you can have a smile and a better life, all you got to do is change your mindset, change your consciousness, change the way you think, and the environment will match it. I guarantee you. So let me see here. Any comments, any questions? Anybody want to question the concept, or anybody would like for me to answer any of the dimensions or elaborate a little more? Okay, so here's interesting. Phyllis Myers. She asked the question, what's meant by you're not black? You're not black. Yeah, okay, good question. Okay, so when I say I'm not black, because I don't subscribe to lower vibrational terms. So I give you an example. If you say you're black, what does that mean? It's just a color. In fact, you was given that concept to say you're black. It's just a color. So it doesn't have no connection to nothing. It doesn't have no history to nothing. It even on this physical realm, it doesn't even have a land that says the black land. You know, you're better off calling yourself you're better off giving yourself a name of a continent. You're better off saying you're African, even though there's limitations to that too. But you would be better off calling yourself that, or giving yourself a religious belief. You're still the same. But being black is the lowest level vibration. You can't manifest nothing being black. You're just black, and people connect to that. And I know some people get offended when I say I'm not black. Like, he ain't black. What the hell, you know? Well, I'm definitely not on that vibration. If you hear me mention the word black, I will remind everyone I'm speaking to those who think on that level of vibration, and I get it. But who I think I am in my personal self, it's not black. No, I left that concept long time ago. I raised the vibration from being black. So in other words, black is a term that we've been given, and we made a culture out of it, and we made a prideness to being attached to it. And I get it, but again, you were given that word. You were given that, and that's a concept. Okay, so look at the concept. What does it mean? What do you attach it to? And you will find it's nothing. It's just a color. Okay. I hope I answered that question. Let's see. I have no other questions. So anyway, black is a color. Black is a color. Exactly. Black is just a color. That's all it is. It's just a color. And you can't do nothing with it. You can't magically do nothing with it. So imagine if you look at a term, and here's what I like to say. I like to put things in terms that is not written, meaning that everything's not found in a book. You have to realize that you are the book. You are the book. And if you don't realize that, maybe you need to do a little earthing, taking off your shoes and getting into the earth and connecting. How abundant information you have already in you. You have an intuition that is powerful as hell. Let me give you some examples of it. You ever been in a situation to where, oh, I know a good one. Check this one out. Manifestation. Everyone has experienced manifesting something. Everyone has. Have you ever thought about something that did not exist? It did not, it wasn't in this existence. And you thought about it, whether you looked at something to improve the concept that was already here or a concept that was not here. You knew it wasn't here. And maybe you were too young or not financially ready to bring that into existence or work on it. And imagine years later, you see the object and you say, I thought of something like that years ago. What does that mean? What that means is this. When you have a concept that is in this magnetic wave or this magnetic field, when you send out a thought, anybody can pick that thought up through their antennas being connected also. So either you picked up someone else's concept in the magnetic field, or you put that out there and someone else picked it up. Hey, I created a concept and looked up, and before I could even start working on it, somebody had it. I said, I figured only two things. Ain't nobody following me around. I never mentioned it on TV. I mean, I never mentioned it on the radio, or I never mentioned it to someone. How did they get it? I said, damn. And I started realizing, you start putting information out there, you start thinking of something, of an ideal, someone else can pick that can transmit that, or receive that energy, and they can pick it up. So you all have experienced having something that you thought of. Everyone has. If you're not, maybe you ain't even got a brain, but everyone has thought of something that was never here, and then suddenly you saw it created. How did that happen? See, there's no coincidence here. So your brain and this intuition is powerful. Look at this one. You ever been around somebody and you felt so uncomfortable? Didn't feel right. You ever been around a person you felt a negative vibe? Maybe you didn't exercise it and got away from them and some shit happened. And you said, man, something told me to get away from that person. Something told me don't walk in that room. Something told me to turn left instead of right. Those are intuitions that are powerful as hell. You can't teach intuition, so it's not in a book. You can only experience intuition. Okay? I can give you a pointer, but you don't know what I mean until you say, I've experienced that before. Now you know. And that's how that works. So in a sense, there's always a blockage that we have. Let me see. Johnny Wakefield as anytime you form an identity with or to, will always be some type of blockage. Identities are blockage. That's right. When you have an identity, in other words, depending on the identity that you have, if your identity is with a concept, yes, then you can't move no further than that concept, because that concept becomes your awareness, right? So this is why I like to have an identity that is not described in someone's text. So if I say that how I view myself as a spiritual being having a human experience, that's not in someone's text. You can't go in a book and say, yes, that's right here. Well, this type of person is supposed to do this. They're supposed to do that. They're supposed to walk this way. They're not supposed to eat that. You see, you can't put it there. If you hear me say that I'm a God, you can't put that in a context. Yep, he's a God. So therefore, you're a God. You can't do this. You can't eat that. You can't walk here. You can't. You see, because there's no text written for it. So whenever you call yourself an identity, there's a text behind it. Call yourself black. Go look in the dictionary and there's your text. Call yourself Muslim. The Quran, there's your text. Tells you what you can do and can't do. Call yourself a Christian. There's a Bible. Call yourself a Hebrew. There's a Torah. There's always a text. that you identify with, and that's as far as you can go because you use that blockage to identify yourself. So raising your vibration is moving past that concept to where it's a concept that only you can feel and identify, that you resonate with yourself, that is not of some dead person's traditional writing. I'm going to say that again. Someone dead, they're been gone, and they done wrote some shit that you still follow. That you actually still hold with some truth that you live in this society. And no wonder you never changed and never created nothing. Here's good. This is good. It's a good question to ask yourself, what have you created lately to share with humanity? I want you to think about this. You see, everything you see around you is come from some creation. And when that person created that, it's to share with humanity. Someone made this pen. They didn't make this pen for themselves. They made the pen to share with humanity. So what are you creating? See, everyone has a genius level of gifts. Genius. You were never taught how to cultivate it and use it. Everyone has the ability to manifest and bring something into this dimension that you can share with humanity. Everyone has the ability. When I learned this, I didn't begin to think, oh, am I the only one that can do this? No. Everyone has the ability. Everyone has a genius level of thinking. What you got to do is move past some blockage, and you got to catch some of the things that you were told and taught, and you got to question those things to remove those things from your subconscious mind in order to open the door and allow more to come into your space. Okay? This detached from identities, and yes, you will definitely be free. You will free yourself up from those concepts. Frank Stoner, what happens after you unlock the universe? Well, here's what happens. I mean, as I was explaining, unlocking the universe, I like to use that term. So unlocking the universe is this, okay? When I realize me and the universe are one, in other words, I don't see the universe as out there and I'm here. I see us as one. So when I explain about the electric magnetic field, let me first say this. And this is interesting. We're living in a dimension that is necessary for the electric magnetic field. If it wasn't for the electric magnetic field, all the atoms will fall apart. See, atoms are bonded together to make material. Your body is made of material, of atoms bonded together. It's the electric magnetic field that bonds them and keeps them intact. If you remove the electric magnetic field, everything drops. Nothing can hold. Everything will just fall apart. Your nose will fall off. Your cells will just fall out. Everything will just be out on the ground. If it wasn't for the electric magnetic field. So the electric magnetic field is the universe. It is connected to the universe in this dimension. So if I take a thought, and that thought in the brain is an electric magnetic wave connected to the electric magnetic field, there's the key. The key is understanding the connection between the two. So in other words, if I have a thought and I add an elevated emotion to it, the electric magnetic field brings that element into my space. Make sense? It brings the element into my space. Like I was explaining about thinking of a table. If I thought of a table, it's going to send out a signal. And the table is vibrating at the exact same signal. The table is vibrating at the exact same signal. And this is how it was brought into my life. You ever been looking for something? You ever thought about something in your house and you say, I want something right there. And you be thinking about what you want. And you just happen to be in the store and there it is. Because your thoughts was creating a frequency that connected to the frequency of the table, and that's how the table was poured into you. Remember what I said, everything's connected based upon the electric magnetic field. If it wasn't for the electric magnetic field bonding everything together, you could not attract nothing into your life because everything will be in pieces. This is a God mind when you start thinking on this level. So you can't put religion into this. Religion don't fit here. Sorry. Religion don't fit talking about the electric magnetic field and the electric magnetic wave. Man, that's the power. So I'm into this because I love science and I love the concept. So what I've learned to do is when I create, even with my products, even with what I had created the provisional patent for, after I created it into my brain, actually every piece of the element start coming together. Every piece that was already created from someone else's mind that can connect with the components. The same as a cell phone. The cell phone was a concept here way before the cell phone actually came. But the cell phone couldn't come at that time, the concept. Oh, let me go back. Let's look at this. Look at Star Trek. Beam me up, Scotty. Remember he had the phone, flip phone, oh, right? That was a concept. That was back in the 60s. But here's why that concept wasn't ready then. Because all the components wasn't in this environment yet to make that a reality. So again, when you have a thought, the universe begins to work your way with that pattern or with that subject matter. And all the elements play a role. So you got a phone that's got a lot of elements in it. And in order for this phone to properly work, the other elements had to be created first, like the magnetic wave. How would a phone work if it didn't know, if it wasn't computed to sending a signal in the magnetic wave? So then, therefore, the technology wasn't ready yet, even though the concept was here. The concept of a phone, flip phone, beam me up, Scotty, was already here, but the phone hadn't came yet. Why? Because the other elements have not yet been produced. And they were coming. Because it was have to come from someone's ideal mindset. Elon Musk said something very interesting in one of his writings. He said that when he looks at something, creating something, he doesn't create from what he sees. He creates from what is not here. That's different. That is really what you call inventing something. And what he was talking about was that he didn't create nothing new. He only improved what was already here, but he improved it with the way he looked at it differently. So if you look at the car, the Tesla cars look funny as hell. He used the concept of the car, but if you look at the car, it has a different design. And the car runs different. Even in his concept of batteries, he looked at the battery and figured out how to make the battery partially recharge itself. Concept from something that was already here. So when you want to manifest something, you got to add your emotions to it, which is a part of your vibration. So you have the energy field. The universe works like this. You have first energy. You have to have energy. Energy is everywhere, all around you. You are also energy. Then you secondly have to have a vibration. Okay? Energy's first, vibration is second. There is no such thing as vibration with no energy. Think about it. Vibrating. What makes it vibrate? Energy. Energy's first, vibrating second. Vibrating then sends a signal, which is called frequency. So you can't have a frequency if you don't have a vibration. And you don't have a vibration if you don't have energy. So understand the energy, understand the vibration. So if I start thinking of something and I allow my mind to create the adrenaline that make my heart flow and feel it, guess what that is? That's vibration. And then when I feel it, every feeling is a vibration. Then it sends a signal. It sends out a signal. Every feeling is a vibration. And it sends out a signal. And the universe reads the signal and answers the signal with a matching vibration or a matching frequency. Like the table, the thought of the table and the table. So it's energy, frequency, or energy, vibration, and frequency. And frequency is the signal. Frequency is the signal that you send. And it's very interesting because in the concept of some of the original people on the planet, they move differently. In fact, it is written that they use what was called telepathic communication. Speaking is the lowest level communication. Well, texting is the lowest level now, but speaking is the lowest level communication. You can hide and cover speech. So I can lie to you. I can cover speech. You know what I can't hide? My vibration. My signal. This is how you can be around someone and you can feel uncomfortable no matter what's coming out their mouth. You feel uncomfortable, that's telepathic communication. When you move on that level, you move on the truer level. When you're at that level, you get the truth from an individual by feeling their energy. All right. You ever been standing somewhere and you feel somebody behind you looking at you? Everybody felt that shit. That's telepathic. Like, the fuck you looking at? You know, you feel the eyes. You feel somebody's eyes on you. All right. That's telepathic. You should tune into that more. That'll help you live a easier life. That'll help you around people. I've shaken people's hand, and after shaking their hand, I have to go wash it. You know why? Because they were slimy as shit. Let me tell you the slimiest people. Car salesmen. Oh man, don't you be around car salesmen? You just can't go wash. You just can't wait to go wash. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but you can feel the vibration because it's a signal. Makes you feel good or bad. You ever been around somebody made you feel good? Oh man, I like being around that person. They inspired you or you inspired them. And I like to use the concept that you should really only have people around you that you either inspire or inspire you, and it keeps a great energy. So imagine you around somebody and when you left, you felt good, man. They gave you a good feeling about yourself. Boom, that's super great, right? And imagine being around somebody that just made you feel low, sad, depressed. Those are all vibrations, high and low. Those are all vibrations, and you have received the frequency signal. You just didn't move on it. You just didn't know how to identify it. I think we went through that when I talked about the chakras. The lower chakra here, the gut chakra, is where you feel gut feeling that. You be around somebody, it's a gut feeling. Pay attention to it. Try to learn how to check your feelings out. You are a whole book. Study. I said this even when I was in religion. You know, I was Muslim for years, and I pulled my mind. Thank God I pulled my mind out of that shit. I remember saying, there is nothing, when I began to learning how to eat and learning how diet works and how food and enzymes work, I became so fascinated with my body and brain that I said, there is nothing more worthy to study than yourself. And I would ask any religious person, I didn't care who you were, I would say it in front of anybody. You cannot name me one thing more worthy to study than yourself. If you can do that, you are totally lost. If you don't realize you are a walking book, undiscovered. There's so much you don't know about yourself. I'm still learning. I'm 60 and I'm still learning new stuff about me. I'm still learning new ideas, how I think. I'm still reading new books. I always got a book in my hand. This is a great book, by the way. the creation frequency. That's a very good concept. But you always learning. You should always want to learn. Never get so stuck to where you think you know it all. Don't do that. Always try to put yourself around people that can elevate you. Remember, there should only be two people around you. One that you inspire and one that inspires you. If you're around people that don't inspire you, you ain't going nowhere in life. If you're around people you don't inspire, then you ain't got nothing to offer. Think about that. When you look at being around these individuals, guess what happens? Your vibration of who you think you are changes. I'm going to give you an example. If you're around a child who you inspire, do you know every time you come around that person or that child, you check your attitude? Think about it. You're around a kid that looks up to you. And you out in the hallway cussing. But the child's in that other room that looks up to you. You change your whole attitude when you come in front of that child. Why is that? Because that child looks up to you, or that person looks up to you, or that person, it's like a person that looks up to you. Think you the world. You're less likely to show your other side. Yeah. You keep it to yourself because that person has a high opinion of you. Well, reverse it. Imagine you being around somebody that inspires you. You're also going to be at your best behavior. You're going to be at your best, highest self around that person that inspires you. So that's why I always say when you're around these two type of individuals, your mind is always in check for what's best to come. When you are aware of your surroundings and consciously aware of yourself. Okay? Let's see here. Let's see if let me get this one off here. Okay, Health Daddy Frank, in your opinion, how long will the sickness people on the planet realize you can't go to your oppressors for help advice? Yeah, Frank, that's a good one right there. And the problem that is that people never move to that fourth dimension. That is a big one. Here's what happens when you start questioning things like that. You know what that means? Individuals now have to figure something out that they just rather be just comfortable in what they think they know. It's easy for them. Because once you begin to change a process, guess what happens? You got to change the way you think. And changing the way you think takes work. Imagine, I'm going to tell you, you met people come in and they say, well, how can I got high blood pressure. What can I do to take high blood? What can I do to lower my high blood pressure? Change your diet. Oh, man, you mean to tell me that shit is work? I thought I just want a pill. Just give me a pill, man, that can lower my blood pressure. When you get to talking about changing their diet, now that's work. People like it comfortable. We so damn lazy, it's pitiful. I always say this country has dumbed us down. Television is the number one. Your belief system is number two. And the way you eat is number three because you're eating low vibrational food. You're not eating food that wakes you up, make your brain think. People, you need to eat more green food just the way it is. You know when you eat some green food like kale, just eat it raw. You know what happened? That's a bitter taste, isn't it? Do you know that it reconnects the neurons in your brain? Hell, as a matter of fact, whenever you start questioning what you think you know, do you know you rewire your brain by questioning? Go question your belief. Watch your brain rewire itself. Go learn something new. Watch your brain rewire itself. Do you know how you may have thought of something to be absolutely true and found out it wasn't? There's something else to that. Your brain at that point starts to rewire itself to that new concept. But that takes work. And I'm addicted to that work. I'm addicted to change. Anybody tell you about me, I'm always changing. I change like you may think I'm bipolar. I will change something in a heartbeat. Because if my intuition tells me to, if I'm feeling that I don't feel that no more, boom, I ain't doing it. It's just that simple. I don't care if I promised you whatever. I ain't doing it if my intuition says don't do that. Don't do that. Don't go there. So you got to be in tune to yourself. You got to be in tune. That's extremely important, is to be in tune to yourself and your surroundings. Okay. Okay. Frank got another question. How much do fear play a role in our community? Constantly in chaos. And is this the reason it is on the TV every day? Absolutely. Oh man, that conversation about fear. Listen. Fear is how they control us. It's actually through fear. If I ask anyone who's taken the jab, the bottom line is fear. So actually they control us with fear. And what does fear do? Fear creates a stress hormone into your bloodstream. And when you got that stress hormone in your head, that stress hormone is survival mode. What it does is you just want to learn how to survive. You want to create us how to survive. So think of it like this. Think of it as, at that point, when you create that stress hormone, guess what you can't do? You can't create nothing new into your life. This is why when you grab on the concepts like black, I don't care what concept it is. When you grab on the concept and you attach your emotions to it, there's a group of people out here that controls you. I'm going to tell you how they control you. Let's say, for instance, let's just use the word black. Let's go back to this term black. You call yourself black. You are proud of being black. Hey, black power. I'm proud to be a black man. Turn on the news. You hear the news. Police just killed another black man. What? You see? Because they're using trigger words. And being black is your trigger word. Imagine if you Muslim. Muslims was killed in China. China's killing Muslims one by one. What? Because you're connected. You place your emotion in that concept. They control your emotions. If you place your feelings into that, they control that. They the one made you feel that way by placing that. And those create stress hormones. It's not peaceful. They're stressful. So every time you look on TV, there's somebody getting killed. If every time you look on TV, there's some racist shit going on. Something going on that is related to your black ass. Something's going on that is going to create a stress hormone in you. Piss you off. Make you mad, or it can make you happy. Either way, it's still control because they control your emotions. You just don't see it that way. So yes, you have to turn off that television. Oh, and that's the hardest thing to do because we are so addicted to the programming of TV. Oh, that's the biggest problem. In fact, I like to put it like this. And I like to put this consciousness realm when I talked about the 5 level of consciousness. Those in the conscious community, and basically that means that you are conscious of you being black. How black are you? Are you conscious of your history? You're conscious of your ancestors. I'm conscious. Yeah, that's not the conscious I'm talking about, because those consciousness are programs. Pick any one you want. Those are programs that you downloaded into your brain that actually has nothing to do with your here and now. Some dead people that is dead years ago has nothing to do with my here and now. I'm sorry. There ain't even a debate. Why I don't believe in that? Because I am my ancestors. My ancestors, me. This is how I came here. I came here through a line of lineage. This is how I got in this dimension. I am my ancestors, so I don't need to pour no libation for them. They are me. I am, like I said, I don't see myself separate from the universe. I am the universe. Me and the universe is one. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. So I don't connect to those earthly things that put chains on me or put boundaries on me. If that makes sense. So I move a little differently. I think a little differently because I don't move with limitations. And this is what some of our problem is that we move with limitations because we're unaware that there are limits. We're unaware that we're blocking ourselves from getting wealth. We were never taught this about the electromagnetic wave and the electromagnetic field and how the brain works. We were never taught how atoms work. We were never taught how atoms work. No, we were not. We were not taught that the same atom in the brain that created a thought of an image has a level of frequency that is connected to something out here that makes that item come to my space. We were never taught that, nor we were taught how to exercise and use it. So can you imagine if everybody had this concept? You wouldn't be worried about no chaos. You wouldn't be worried about no Black Lives Matter because everyone is on the same level. There is no Black Lives Matter or have to worry about that concept anymore. You're now realizing you stepped into the concept that you are a God, that you can live the life you want. And so what is wrong with living the life you want? That you don't want to be connected to the chaos. What is wrong with that? I want a life of peace. I want to live my life of peace, no chaos, no starving, no struggle, no worries about where my food or where my money going to come from. No worries. What's wrong with that? Am I a sellout because I don't want to accept your struggles? Oh, I'm here to accept your fucking struggles? I came into this dimension because you Black and you got all this old history knowledge, and I'm supposed to accept your struggle about. I done read all the books I think I could read about Black's history. Oh my God, I don't want to read no more. I don't want to know no more about no damn 12 years a slave, and that's the program right there. Why do you think they keep putting that shit in your face? That's how they keep your ass a slave. They like that shit. And you interested, Black people be interested in watching some slave shit. What the fuck is wrong with that? Hey, I've been there, done it, but I realized that shit was depressing me. It was pissing me off. I said, I can't watch that shit no more. So I'm not allowing them to put that shit in my brain. I won't do it, right? So you got to change your concept. You got to change your mindset. You got to change who you think you are. And that's the only way you're going to be able to grow and see yourself out of this, what people call the matrix, but I like to call this way of life. You have to see yourself better. And what's going on right now, let me give you this. There's another wave coming. Get ready for it. So this is the time to where you should be trying to figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to build your wealth, and how you're going to move away from the concept of chaos. Because here's the thing. If they keep pushing this shit, they keep pushing their narrative, you start believing it. You start believing it. You start accepting the fear. Then you run around wearing a mask your damn self, blocking your own oxygen, lowering your own immune system. Yep, you gonna get sick, all right. If you believe in getting sick, you gonna get sick. And I'm gonna tell you something else before I go. If your ass is sick, get away from sick people. Start being around people who are well. Get the hell away from if don't go visit sick people. Now you can drop them some shit off and leave, but I ain't hanging around. No, your ass is sick. I want to be around well people. I want to be around people. I like being around people who are moving abundance. I want to be around people who complaining. The hell with that shit. I don't want to be around people complaining about money. I ain't got this. Oh, I don't want to be around them type of people. I'm sorry, I don't. I want to be around people who are moving money and making shit happen. Yeah, that's who I like. I like being around people who have ideals, who are thinking. So I can build with that. I can't build with your ass if all you do is talk about victimization. You're going to tell me the next person that was killed when I see your ass. Did you know, hey, John, you know what? So-and-so died. Man, you know, he just got killed. Then. That's all you got to tell me, right? Hey, did you see that on the news? So-and-so got ran over. I don't want to hear that shit. I want to hear some news. I want to hear some stuff that I can build on. So when you start changing your mindset, that's how you roll. Hey, these last These at my life level, at my level of life now, I done got to the stage. I'm not concerned with a lot of shit. I'm not. And so I'm now about building wealth and building abundance for myself to experience the life that I want, and to create a generational wealth for my family to create the life that they want. So think about that. Think about changing your mindset, and raising your vibration, raising your level of thinking, raising who you think you are, raising it, and the universe will answer you. I promise you. It will show you what you're thinking, and it will bring into your existence. Okay? All right. So anyway, I appreciate everyone that came in, listening to this subject. Please, again, share. I didn't really mean to take this long. Oh my God, sometimes I just get to talking. Boy, I thought I was going to be an hour. But anyway, hey, listen, take this information, share it. If any more comments, I'll come back and answer you if I can. Just leave me the comments. I appreciate everyone that came in and listened to this message that I was giving. And I love to grow and build. So, and I love to learn. So therefore, if you have something that I can look at it differently, please inform me, let me know, and we can continue to build. Okay. So I appreciate everyone for coming in and hanging out with me on this Tuesday Esoteric Podcast. And we'll see what we're going to do next week on the next show. Again, what we try to do here is bring you concepts that mainstream media ain't teaching you. And unfortunately, our quote unquote conscience community ain't teaching you. Again, if they're not teaching you how to unlock the universe, they sending your ass in a circle. All right. Peace out, everyone. I love you, and walk in health and abundance and be well. Peace.